What's up guys, it's Sean from Window Tint Warriors, and today in this video we're going to be doing the sunroof on a Tesla Model Y to 2020. The main reason why I'm creating this video is because this is a hard window to tint. So if you guys look inside, I'll open up all the doors so we have good lighting in there. You can tint this sunroof without doing what I'm about to do, but if you look very close, we're covering the whole border of exactly where we're going to want to lay the tint. And there's a lot of tension against the window, or a lot of overlap that would cause the tint to scrunch, and this is a large piece of film. What I'm going to do in this video is show you how to take that whole headliner down to make the installation so much easier than trying to hassle with it, shove it into the sides, get creases, contamination. And not only will you get creases and contamination if you don't take this headliner down, you'll also get water dripping into the side pillar all the way down to the front, which is where the computer is. So you have a chance of contamination with water in the computer. And I'm tinting this windshield also, so I want to limit as much water dripping into places that they shouldn't be as much as possible. Enough with the speech. I'm going to show you guys exactly how to take everything apart so you guys can do this yourself. Put the seat forward just enough to right here. You don't have to put it all the way because we're going to take this front down too. Open up the rear hatch, open up all the doors. And when I'm doing this, I like to set up a couple tables to put all the parts onto as I take them out of the car. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take all these weather sealings or weather stripping or whatever you wanna call it, the gasket that's around the door, I'm gonna take them off of all four doors, and they pull off super easy. So you just grab one side, wherever you like. I'd recommend on a flat spot, not a curved spot, because you could end up bending it. So just grab it right there. And these literally, they fall off. Just take them off. There's no science to it. Try to keep track of where they came from, but you can figure it out as you reinstall them. Super easy. You have no reason not to do this. So we got front door, back door, and we'll lay them the same exact way on top of those from the other side. Now that we have those out, I like to fold the seats down. If you're doing this for your first time, what you would do is you would examine exactly what pieces you're gonna have to take off. I know for a fact that this part has to come off so that the top headliner can be released from it. So this is connected to the headliner. And these side pillars, the A pillar, which is this part right here where the seatbelt is connected, has to pop off. So with this, we're just simply gonna pull. It releases from the bottom plastic. So we're just going to release the carpeted area, or the fabric area. And to release that, you just have to pull from the side, and then it pulls off. And then on the top, there's just two clips, which I'll show you. 1, 2, and they fall right off. Now one thing that you really want to pay attention to, mainly during reassembly, is this piece right here that adjusts for the seatbelt height. It's adjusted right here. So you want to make sure that this is in the same position as this is when you put it back on, or they won't line up. For now, let's take this, put it down with the carpet side facing the plastic. That way none of this scratches the plastic. And that's fine right there. We just took that down so that we can get the headliner area to release, because that's holding it in place. So we'll do the same thing with this one. Pull away. Two clips on the top. It's okay if this falls off, it just goes on the track. So the last time I did one of these, I took all this bottom plastic off just to pull this away. But I'm gonna work from the front first. You'll see, since we have that stripping removed, we'll have this accessible. Just pull away from the top where the plastics meet and just work our way back. This isn't gonna have to come all the way off, but just enough to release this piece. And then you can see this is pulled away enough to be able to work on that. Let's do this side as well. Release that, separate it from the top. Just stay close to where the tension areas are, especially around these switch areas. It's a little bit more flimsy, so you want to stay close to the point of contact. Now these top gaskets, or the seal around the trunk, you really don't want to remove, because there's a weird sealant, weather tight goop that's in that channel, and if you remove it, it gets everywhere. So we're just gonna retuck this So we'll pull this up a little bit to release the plastic. And then when we put this back in, we'll just use a plastic trim tool to lay that back on top of the plastic. But for now, we're gonna push that above it and release it like so. And we'll work our way to the front. Right back here, there's a bunch of clips. So let's pull that away. And I'm gonna start on the front. It's a little weird up in this area. You'll see the headliner actually goes around this trim piece, so you can see the plastic right there. So we're gonna work this piece out first, where the quarter window is. You can see how that clips into the headliner. And then we'll be able to pull this piece down. And you can see right here, this groove is where the headliner was clipped into place. So now once that's taken out, you could move this whole plastic out of the way. Just pull it straight up and out. I've also done it where I've left it up there and it still worked out. But to give yourself some extra slack, just pull the seat belt and we can go ahead and place that in the trunk area. So come back around on this side again, release the clips, work your way around the back. And then we have where it's clipped into the headliner. Once you get the rest down, that'll fall right out of place. Don't force it. If you have to force it, just move the piece around a little bit so it'll loosen up. There we go. Lift that plastic up just like last time. Pull some extra seat belt, and then you can lay this. Being careful not to scratch the plastic on plastic, because you will make a mark. Now we have this whole back headliner released. We can start working our way from the back forward by popping this down. It just clips. Trying not to bend it, you won't cause any marks, but if you bend it too much, you could. All right, now that we have the back released, the side panels off, we want to focus on where the dome lights are, or the reading lights on the back. There is a screw behind the hook that is right here, but we do not have to take that off. That was my mistake when I first did this. I thought I had to take that screw off, and it's nearly impossible to get back in. So all you really have to do is grab from the top, and then you're gonna grab from the bottom, being careful not to wrap your hand around anything metal, because when you pull, you're gonna scratch yourself. And you wanna pull just down and away, like on an angle. And it'll sound like a breaking noise, but it's not. It's just a plastic clip on this metal right here. We're gonna have to get this clip out, and to get it out, it's a whole assembly where this kind of rope connection is. You're gonna have to pinch the top of the clip, which I'm gonna show you once I get this out. I like to use needle nose pliers. Get a good grip on them, just to pinch them to release the tension. All right, once you got it down, you're good. Take the needle nose, pinch that, and then pull down at the same time, and this piece will come right out. So basically this piece, when it's clipped up into there, is what clips into here, which we pulled off. That's why you have to pull down and away when you do that first initial pull to get that to release. And then we'll release this so that we can release the rest of the headliner. So now once you have this down, we're gonna have to take out these screws that are up here. And we can release the rest of the headliner up to the visor strip area. You have a T30 Torx tip where we have this black restraint. So we're gonna take that off first to release that. And you can leave the screw attached to it if it stays in place. And then we're gonna take this black piece off, which connects the two headliners, as well as this T20 Torx tip down here. There's 5 total, 4 in the black piece and 1 in the headliner. And the black piece comes off, and then the headliners separate. You're gonna wanna disconnect this wire so there's no tension on it. It's just for the dome light. To get the plug out, there's a little tiny pin in here. Just gonna push that out, and then I'll release. Unhook the wire. You can see we have some clips hanging up here. They can actually be a lot easier removed directly from the headliner. All these types of connections, like these right here, and then the black kind of like ribbon restraint, are to hold the headliner in place if the airbags ever go off. That's why they're so tight. Let's wire out. A lot more slack on this one. Now we can go ahead and separate the headliner on this side, just like we did on the other. It'll fold down. This last clip or restraint that's in place, it's just like a door panel clip. You're gonna slide it to the side that's open, and then it comes right off. So that basically clips into the top, holding the headliner in place. You just slide it out. So we can go ahead and take this out, being very careful not to scratch anything. Keep in mind how you're gonna put it back in, because you don't wanna hit the window when you're putting this back in, because you can scratch the tint after we've tinted it. So once the rear section of the headliner is down, you can put the seats back up. You're gonna have to sit here. And when you put them back up, put them all the way back to make it a lot easier of an area to work in. Right now that we have the rear section of the headliner down, you can get away with taking the headliner and kind of like bungee cording it down and keeping the tension away to slide the film into there. But I want to limit as much water as I can from, like I said, going down the C-pillar, because I'm doing the windshield and stripping the windshield as well. So there's gonna be a lot of water going on here. I'm just gonna go ahead and take the complete headliner down. You guys can use this as a reference if you do like an Alcantara headliner on a Model 3 or a Model Y, same exact concept. So let's move to the front, and I'll show you guys how to take this front portion down as well. So to get the headliner down, obviously we're gonna have to take the visors down. So anything that's on the visors, put away. We'll start off by taking these little pucks out. They're actually magnets. Just use a trim tool, pop into the side, and then make sure you don't break the clips, but you do have to bend them to get them out. They are a bit fragile. And they are magnetic, so just be careful, they'll pick up little screws. They're both the same, so you don't have to worry about which way that they go. Let's get the steering wheel out of the way. We also have to take these pillars off in order to get the rest of the headliner down, so let's do that first. You're gonna have to take this plastic piece off, releases from the top, and then lifts up. Lifts up. So now the pillar's free. We'll grab it from the top, release it down. And this is just poor assembly in the factory. These should separate. That's what the whole safety protocol is. But if they come off in one piece, I mean, better for you. It's easier to take apart. These can go on the table. If this top piece, this top straight did separate like it should, this should stay in the top or part of the pillar, and this should be attached to here. You can just slide it off, just like we did on the back, and that'll pop right off. But that should separate like so. So if this does stay connected like it's supposed to, you can grab this, slide it off. It is pretty tight. And then you can just go ahead and tuck it up here so it's out of the way. Slide the pillar out. So now in order to get the headliner down from here, the main points of contact are the mounts for the visors, which is a screw in each one, and then the visor comes out along with a wire which you disconnect. And then right here, there's this metal clip, so you have to pull it down really tight on. So let's go ahead and get this screw out. We'll work our way around this plastic cover here and kind of finesse it by twisting the visor and moving the position. There we go. You can extend the visor on the Model Y to expose that screw a lot easier. This is gonna be a T25 Torx tip. I like to take these and just stick them to the magnets that they pertain to. That way it's just too many screws, you start getting lost. And to get this out, you give it a wiggle, it'll slide down, it'll pivot down, and you see this little hook grabs on the top, and then you can disconnect the plug simply by pulling it out. Put this to the side, take the other one out. And now the whole headliner is released. Now when we get this to drop down, we're gonna have a bunch of plugs that we're gonna have to disconnect. So it's not that complicated, but you have the speaker, and then you have the hazards, and these two dome lights here that are all connected through a web of wires. So the main tension point, like I said before, is gonna be this front area. So you're gonna wanna grab, without putting tension on the windshield, and pull down snugly. You may have to get a trim tool up underneath. It's just metal clips, but they do tend to be very tight. There we go, being careful not to hit the mirror. And then we'll release the entire headliner. And then you see the wires we have here. Just simply unplug those. You got the speaker, pull those away, remove it from the clips. You got the visor lights. You could leave this hanging just like so, but it's so easy to disconnect these wires and just put them back in when you're done. Get it all out of the way so we don't make a mess. Wire. This is all the way back to the reading lights. Done. Once you have this whole harness out, you can just kind of put it all to the side. This little foam piece just lifts up and re-sticks back down. And the last wire we have is the whole dome light assembly. Push clip on this, I believe. Damn. So to remove that, you just have a little clip on the side. Push that down and pull it out. That is for the dome lights and the hazards button. And these wires you can just put to the side. Then we can go ahead and remove this whole assembly at once. Being careful not to hit the steering wheel with any of the clips, depending on the way that you pull it out, and not to tug on the wires or hit the seats. Very easy. That took me like 4 or 5 minutes to take out. It's well worth the stress-free installation. Place that right on top. And now we have a fully open top section of a Tesla Model Y. And that is how you prep the sunroof, or even just remove the headliner on a Tesla Model Y for an easy install of the sunroof window tint, or just to replace the headliner if that's what you're looking to do. And if you guys want to learn how to tint this sunroof, check the link in the description. I'm gonna go over the shrinking and installation process of the tint on the sunroof, as well as the reassembly in that video. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any comments, concerns, questions, down below, make sure you like and subscribe. I appreciate you guys' view. I'll see you guys in the next video.